All right, welcome everyone. New season for Minnesota State men's hockey. We have head coach Luke Strand here for the press conference. Ask for an opening statement first and a question from me, and then we'll take questions. If any of you have them, feel free to raise your hand on the Zoom. Thank you for joining us. Minnesota State has Michigan this weekend at Yost Arena. 2 games Friday and Saturday. Michigan ranked number 7 in the country coming into the preseason. Coach, first of all, what's the feeling around your team heading into week 1?
No, it's been good. The off season's long. I thought the guys' preparation's been really. They've done a great job. We've attacked, I thought, the summertime, and now into the fall. You've got all the limited hours, but the guys have done more than the prescribed on their end of things. I think they're mentally. We need to play a different opponent that doesn't wear purple and gold right now. That'll be good for us.
And you look at your opponent this weekend, obviously very tough right away. This is a team that's made the Frozen Four the last 3 years. How much is it a help to your team to learn about what you have when you play a team like Michigan right out of the chute?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be an eye on what they do and how they prepare and what the talent level they have. There's going to be 2 eyes maybe on us, what we're getting, what we need to improve on, where we're at, the level. I think there's going to be a lot of firsts as far as start the season. I'm sure there's going to be hiccups. I'm sure there's going to be. It's not going to be as pretty. It's going to be messier than probably we want. Can we grind? Can we persevere? Can we find a way to be a little bit relentless about that pursuit of getting better and perfection? At the same time, we're really looking forward to our group just coming together and supporting one another. That part this time of year it's maybe the biggest piece.
When you look at Michigan, their roster coming back, a lot of returners. They did lose their top 2 scorers to NHL squads. But what is the scouting report as you've seen it so far for the Wolverines?
Good. Just a lot of stick skill. A lot of guys with experience that have played, in some regards, some supporting roles versus some of the spots that they left. But guys, I'm sure they're more than capable to jump in and pull their weight as far as their opportunity goes to be the leaders on their team. You look at Hughes and Shifsky right up front, and you see big-time players, and it just goes all the way through. I think as a whole, they're a team that plays with pace. They're a team that's going to create offense out of nothing, and at the same time, they're going to be young enough to have some open eyes and go for it. So we got to be on guard for what they bring to the table. But again, it comes back to us and what we got to get done here as a whole and making sure we stay together.
In terms of your team, you want to talk about the forwards first. How do you like the forward lines? Do you have it pretty well set at this point, or are there still jobs to earn at this point?
Yeah, there's still pole positioning we kind of talk about here, just as anything. Is there combinations? Oftentimes, I think as a coach, you're probably working in 2s and you're trying to find a 3rd that fits. So that's going to keep some guys rotating around here. I'm just old school enough to be keeping guys on their toes to switch around and make sure we're not comfortable. But the forward group for us has got depth. I think they've got a little identity with the way we can skate and get after and stay over a puck. Definitely supported by the defensive core, trying to play a 5-man game. So our guys are excited to get back, and the new additions are excited to put their own stamp on this.
Do you like the makeup of the defensive core that you alluded to, the fact that you have a lot of experience coming back, but you also have some highly touted prospects that came in here and now it's their first year?
Yeah, we do. I think that if there's maybe a strength, if we can get out of our end and they can give us some defensive stability and some sturdiness, I guess, to our game. All the while, I think all of them can make more than routine plays and add some flavor on that side. But they're going to defend and really keep us tight together. The leadership back there, the experience back there, they all mold, and you want to play good in front of your goaltender at the same time. So that they're a key cog to starting offense and probably being a sturdiness to the defending side.
How much is your goaltender Alex Tracy a leader of this team?
Yeah, you go through that position's always tricky. Some teams you see a C on their chest and you do some things. I always feel that position's got enough to worry about without wearing a letter. So, but Trace is a leader. I think his demonstration of example setting and just his behavior of being a leader day to day not only owning his position, but he's got a mindfulness of the whole rink. So, I think that rubs off on the other goalies just as much as it does for our team.
Questions for Coach Matt.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. Was there for CCHA Media Day, and one of the things you talked about was, you lost your two top scorers from last year, but you felt like the forward group overall could be deeper, stronger in general. Just wanted to ask how adding a guy like Rhett Pitlick, which is the big news last couple of weeks, how that changes the complexion kind of the forward group. Him specifically, like dumping him into this kind of top end forward lines.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when you add Rhett, one fortunate enough to get like his ability and how he approaches the day. He's in a good way a hockey nut. Like he loves the game. He wants to improve. He's around the rink. He's a rink rat. I think that oftentimes instills some things in others. Usually when you put in talent and sticks, it probably provides some confidence for other guys' sticks and ability as well. He's done all those pieces. He's a really talented player. I think the surrounding cast that probably does the most for is it just slots guys in a lot of the right spots along the way to give us better depth. If one guy's negated or one line's negated, can another be stronger because of where they're slotted in the lineup? That part ends up showing up pretty quick. So, we're still working on combinations, but his addition for sure has strengthened our forward group.
What are some of the challenges of maybe getting him integrated so close to the season? It's not common that we see a player like this, join the team so late. Obviously, you guys happy to have him in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot here. Like the coaches will teach. You as players got to coach one another and help each other along. I think it's put a really heavy onus on our guys to have conversations in line or on the bench or behind the scenes where we're just directing traffic a little bit as peers. That part for us is really a big deal. And at the same time, the new guy training part, he's a player. He's been through. He's got games under his belt. He's got experience. And then also that kind of player, sometimes you give them a little more rope at times because the electricity that can be provided because of that. So he'll be acclimated and up to speed. And he's been a really enjoyable guy, though, around the rink. You got to love his passion for the game.
Another question I had just generally about the offseason and some of the changes to the roster from last year. You guys added specifically two pretty large guys, Kate Alami and Luke Ashton. You talked a little bit about on media days. You guys were by average weight, you were one of the smaller teams in the country last year. Was that an emphasis of adding size, and how does that maybe allow you guys to play a little differently this year, possibly?
Yeah, I think when you're you're putting the pieces of the puzzle of a lineup and a roster together, a year ago we didn't have a lot to say about how that all turned out, just out of timing and taking the job and where the recruiting class was, et cetera. So it ended up being a point of emphasis on that side. I don't know. There's that heart inside doesn't really matter, the size of the body a little bit. Like I want to make sure that thing works, but both those in stature give us a little more presence maybe. I just think we got longer and bigger, and it's going to be a goal of ours to not lose speed and ability, but get a little bit sizey in areas where we can if it makes us better. So, yeah, I mean, I've heard the comments about the basketball and all the other things. I don't know if I'd put a ball in their hand to step back and hit one, but I put a stick in their hand to see what they do with that part. They're pretty hard to get around.
Last thing I had, what stood out about Josh Groll in terms of him being named captain? Heard some when the announcement came out, you talking about it was pretty consensus between the staff and the players that he was the guy to wear the C this year.
Very landslide. That says a lot to the fabric of him. I just think when you get leadership qualities and behaviors, it doesn't matter your role on the team. It doesn't matter if you're the leading scorer. It's great. If you're not, wonderful. It's about the person, his example setting, the way he goes about his business. Although one of the easier forms of leadership is set an example, he does it so consistent. That's not easy. And I think just his way. He's a personable guy. I think he's got a way to interject himself into not only the day-to-day lives of guys, but definitely on the ice. Undercover, he's probably a pretty quiet guy out there, but I'd say in the room he's got some juice, and he definitely plays with a high motor. And I think for the guys, they're very comfortable with the idea of knowing that's what's leading the pack.
Look like for the team for the rest of the week and the travel schedule?
Yeah, prep is, it's been good. Like, you want to try to get into this week with having probably as much as you can in. There's going to be growth that you got to show up, and you're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to do some things along the way. For us this week is going to be about getting back to a speed and a play and a pace that's demanding on ourselves to make sure we're ready for the Michigan pace. You're trying to stay, knock on wood, you're trying to stay healthy, but yet you want to stay combative. We kind of talk about being disciplined, but at the same time, we got to get after each other too to make sure we're ready. So it'll be a hard week. It'll continue to be a hard week, and then travel-wise, we'll get out on Thursday and get ourselves set up there and have a quick rip on Thursday night and a little morning. Make sure we're comfortable with the surroundings and the setting, and anything we had to put some caps on at the end. But excited to go into it's a fun place to play, very hostile place to play. But at the same time, getting off the ground, it'll be a fun exercise for the guys here.
You ever been to Yost Arena before?
Plenty, yeah. Our time at Ohio State was filled with it. You go there for other events along the way as scouts or coaches or whatever. They've got a niche. It's a tight barn with this loud. It's got electricity. I'm sure it'll be sold out. And to their credit, what their program has done and put themselves in the national spectrum all the time. They've deserved all of their fan fervor. At the same time, I'm looking for our group. I think there's a pretty good purple contingent making that trip.
Any other questions for Coach this morning? All right, well, appreciate you taking the time, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.